So Sal, we are now 5 minutes later. So I think we have enough people online. So around 25, 26, 27. So I think we can start, and people who are a little bit later, no problem. We didn't start the wine tasting yet, so you have some time. Yes. So I'll do the first small part in Dutch, and then I come back to you for your introduction, and then we can start the first part of the wine tasting of tonight. Good?
Okay, good, perfect.
Welkom iedereen op deze 5e editie alweer van de online WijnHALL. Deze keer met een wijnhuis dat mij vrij nader aan het hart staat. Alle wijnhuizen heb ik nauw contact mee, maar dit is ook een wijnhuis wat uit een gebied komt waar ik veel affiniteit mee heb. Ik zit op een andere plek dan de voorgaande keren. De voorgaande keer zat ik echt in de hal. De hal is nu bezet, of althans, er zijn allemaal mensen gezellig saté aan het eten beneden. Dus vind je het leuk om binnenkort ook eens een keer wat leuks te eten hier en daar? Dus we hebben hier hele leuke thema-avonden. Dus kijk even op de website van de hal en laat je verrassen met prijs, kwaliteit, top eten en drinken. Dus vandaar net even een andere setting. Wat gaan we vanavond doen? Als het goed is, heeft iedereen deze flesjes. Ik hoop ook dat iedereen de 8 heeft. Dat zou fijn zijn. Ik heb aan de meeste mensen een tip gegeven, maar dat je de witte wijn en de rosé koud hebt gezet. Zo niet, kel ze nog even in de vriezer, want het is wel fijn als dat een beetje gekoeld is. We gaan die flesjes uiteraard 1 voor 1 proeven, vanaf nummer 1 tot met nummer 8. We gaan de wijnen doornemen. Maar wat vinden we ervan? Als je vragen hebt, gooi ze in de live chat. Dus je kan in de live chat gewoon al je vragen stellen. Die behandel ik dan. Misschien dat ik ze direct textueel beantwoord. Of dat we wellicht de vraag door kunnen pasen aan Saul. En dat hij daar antwoord op heeft. Dus vragen zijn nooit dom. Soms grappig. Maar gooi ze in de groep. Want dat geeft ons ook weer een beetje feedback. Want wij zien jullie niet. Wij hebben geen idee wat jullie aan het doen zijn. Dus als jullie ons daarmee kunnen verblijden, graag. Uiteraard gaan we eerst even een stukje de diepte in over waar komen die wijn nou vandaan. Vind je het leuk? Op de pagina van de link, waar de link op staat, er staat een klein filmpje van het wijnhuis. Dus een kort filmpje van volgens mij 3,5 minuut. Ja, kijk die even, want daar staat ook echt, dan krijg je een beetje een idee van de omgeving. Want de omgeving van dit wijnhuis is echt prachtig en echt uniek. Dus kijk daar voor de grap even na, als je tijd hebt op een ander scherm of ernaast. So, Saul, I just made a small introduction about what we're going to do tonight.
Yeah.
For me, very important. Tonight we're going to taste the wines from the middle of Portugal.
Yes.
And these wines identify, for me, the true meaning of terroir. For people that don't know, terroir is soil, site, climate, and local traditions. And with local traditions, local traditions also are the heritage of the winery and where the wine is from. And this heritage is in my opinion, really big. It's from the medieval city of Tomar that was once the capital of the Templar Knights in Portugal. So a lot of cultural, historical traditions for us to taste tonight. So Saul, to know a winery, for us, it's very important to know the people behind the winery. So maybe first you can tell us something about yourself, about who you are, and how did you get started into the wine?
Yeah, of course. Like you were saying, the terroir is also the human factor. And of course, to know the wines, we need to know the people. So of course, we thank you for this invitation. It's a pleasure to be here today with you and to all the guests that are assisting to this video. About me, what can I say?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you.
And regards for all of you. What can I say about me? So I'm 39. I took my degree in marketing. So this is my job in this company, the marketing manager. But as you know, marketing, it's a lot of things. So I do export as well. I do brand identity and also the sales. So at this moment, we are focusing also on producing quality wines. But we have new projects as well in Herdade dos Templários that we will talk a little bit during this conversation. Namely, also the tourism will be another part of our investments.
Yeah.
About me, so I graduated in marketing, and that was funny how I came to the wine business and how I came to this company. During my course, I was having some skills about technology and design and web design. So I had a teacher that was friend of the Paula Costa that you know, that it's the family business.
Yeah.
You were here and we met all together. And he recommended for me to go there to an internship, you know, to have 2 or 3 months to renew the brand of the wines. So Paula accepted the suggestion, and it's like this. I've been there for a few years already since then.
Yeah.
Since then, so it all started with a teacher recommendation that took me to the wine business and to this company.
Almost everything started with a teacher recommendation, right?
Perhaps, I don't know. Yes, in this case it was definitely.
No, because we we go a while back as well. You know, we are importing the wines from Templarios. I think 5, 6,
or more. I think more, 5, 6.
Yeah,
years.
I think more than that.
And it's funny. I don't know if you remember how I get to you, but was in a tour, one of our first tours in the winery with a group. That was a couple of friends of you that they were delighted with the exhibition, with the tasting, with all the vineyards. So they say, well, I have a friend in Holland. You need to contact him. He will work your wines. He loves Portuguese wines. He's the perfect person for you. So we start the business like this, changing, sending some emails, and all started like a recommendation as well, but from some friends.
Again, a recommendation.
Yes, again, a recommendation. In regards to Valdemar and Vladimir.
Yeah, Valdemar and Vladimir. I went to them last Saturday to have a dinner. So
yeah,
always good memories.
Of course, of course.
So it's for a lot of people, it's not a secret that I really fancy not only the winery, but also the region that the winery is from. So I know it pretty well. And if I have people in the wine shop, I always recommend to go there. But maybe you can give us a little bit of information about the region and the winery itself. When was the winery started? Stuff like that.
So Herdade dos Templários is a family business that started with Paula's father, Mr. Albino Costa, that found this property needed to be cared and was for selling. And at that moment, Albino Costa had another business, and the thought that could be nice because he also has a passion for the Templars, for the history of Tomar, but also for the wine. So it all started like this, buying a property of 30 hectares in '89, okay? And then starting a long and deep process of renovation. First with the vineyards, with the winery as well, a modern winery that was built in '92. And then step by step, introducing new grape varieties that will push our wines for the quality that we now have.
Yeah.
So about Tomar, as you know, Tomar, and you said, was the headquarters of the Templars. It was founded by a Knight Templar that is Dom Gualdim Pais in 1160. So everything in Tomar, it's about the Templars. You said that once was the headquarters, but you know that today it still exists, an international order of the Templars.
Yeah.
And they are also very connected with Tomar. And I think that the headquarters are also in Tomar.
Yeah,
so
it should be. If it's not, it should.
Yeah. So it's really a long relation with the Templars, and everything about Tomar you can find, of course, wine of the Templars, but you have hotel of the Templars, you have the restaurant of the Templars, you have, you know, everything about the Templars.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful small town in the center of Portugal. Let me say that the truly geographical center of Portugal, it's in Vila de Rei, that it's like 40 kilometers from here, more or less. So it's really in the heart of Portugal, the Tomar city. Small town, it has less than 40,000 people living, I think, but very traditional with a lot of monuments, a lot of history and everything connected with the Templars.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place, and
it deserves a visit for all of you that we are watching.
It
Definitely come to Portugal and visit Tomar.
Yeah, I think maybe there will be like a wine traveling group for us to go to the Dow, to Pedro, to Boas Quintas, and then maybe
This will
going
be
south.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
You are very welcome.
I think that
we don't open the door to you, for you. We open the gates. So.
Yeah. Happy to be there.
Yeah.
So the city is it's a lovely city, and it's a very good winery. It's extremely efficient, like I said before, or at least in my opinion, it's extremely efficient. So can you tell me a little bit more about the grape varieties that you're using in the winery?
Yes, of course. We had during this more than 30 years that we celebrate last year, two big renews of the vineyards, because in the first instance we had what was the most planted at that time. So imagine that was mostly Castelão grape variety for the reds. That now it's not the main Portuguese more planted variety, but is the third one. Okay. And for the whites was Fernão Pires, basically. And Fernão Pires is still, I think, the most planted area in our country.
Yeah.
So we start to first renew, okay, to introduce new grape varieties. And at 15 years ago, I think, more or less, 14, 15, was the biggest one, where we introduced also one of our important grape varieties at this moment for the reds. That is the Touriga Nacional, one of the most famous Portuguese grapes, but also some international ones, very famous, like Cabernet, who everyone knows Cabernet, the king of international grapes, but also Syrah, Merlot, and also strengthen our Portuguese native grape varieties, also like Aragonês, and we also put Arinto for the whites. So we have a lot, it's around 12 grape varieties that we will talk about during the tasting, because each wine has their own varieties.
Yeah, has their own character.
But that process was very important to increase the quality, because Castelão and Fernão Pires are beautiful grapes, but we needed more. So we put it more varieties.
Yeah, and I think
also
that's a good thing.
Different profiles of wine and different markets.
Yeah, you know? And still be true to the grapes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Before we go into taste, the last a little bit more or less question, because now here in the Netherlands it's summertime. So for you, what is it like now in the winery? In what stage of field work are you now?
Yes. So now it's a beautiful season, because here in Portugal we say that comes the painting man, you know, and paints the grapes. So in 1 or 2 weeks we will start to see the green fruits starting to be purple, or in the white a little translucent.
Yeah.
So it's the point now of the vineyards. Of course, we had this spring with normal treatments. We respect a lot the environment. We have integrated production, so we take care of the vineyards, and we do the minimum artificial measures for the vineyard treatments. Of course, we need to check week by week and do whatever it takes. We need to guarantee the quality and the respect for the vineyards.
Yeah.
Okay. So at this moment, it's the time that the fruit, it's bringing all that we want. So the aromatic complexity, the sugar, the color, everything that we like in the wine, it's arriving now.
Yeah.
From now on. Yeah. In a couple of months, we have the harvesting. So.
Yeah, it's already in a couple of months, right?
Yeah.
So what's your favorite time? What's your favorite time in the winery? Is it now, or is it like most people during harvest?
Harvest is the main time. It's the most important, of course. Yeah. And you know that in harvest, all of the team is together, and it's like everyone, it's working for the same goal, you know, having the best harvesting and also collecting the best fruit. So the harvesting, it's not only at that time. The harvest, it's the spirit of harvesting. It's starting in 1 month, you know, that we start to measure the sugar levels in the grapes, fruits, and then starting to be week by week, checking until get a predictable time and date to start the harvesting. First for the whites, of course, because we want the whites fresh with a nice acidity. And if the weather continues like this, perhaps the harvesting of the whites will not be in September, will be in August, because we prefer to have this natural freshness for the white wines that are so obvious in our white wines. Okay.
For me, the harvest is always like the pinnacle in the history of a wine, in the life of a wine.
Yes, but now the grapes are beautiful. Even in the last week or before, we took some aero pictures, and it's beautiful now with this green color. You know, everything very beautiful, flowers. It's beautiful. The leaves very green. It's beautiful.
Harvest is always like the pinnacle. It's from vine to wine. It's the beginning, but it's also the end. It's like magical into wine. So good. I don't know if people I saw. No, not really questions in the chat.
Okay.
So I think we are clear about the winery and what you're doing. If there are questions, keep them going, and I'm happy to pass them through to Saul about what they are doing in the winery and how they are doing it. So let's start with the first wine.
Yes.
So the first wine is Herdade dos Templários. Exactly. I hope you can see the label. So this is the wine, and maybe you have a big bottle, but I think the most of you have the small one. So let's start to pour the wine in, of course, a glass. Everybody use a glass. And before we start to taste these wines, the whites and the reds are special in a good way. It's a distinctive taste. It's an expression of grapes and terroir in maybe extreme. So, Saul, can you tell us a bit about the grape varieties you're using in this wine, the vinification, so how you're making the wine, and maybe give us some information about the tastes, the flavors you think are in the wine, and maybe some food pairing as well. So please start and enlighten us.
Talking about the grapes here, this wine from 2018 has Fernão Pires, the one I told you that we still remain, and it's one of the most typical, because I didn't talk about the region, we talk about Tomar, it's our town, but Tomar is a sub-region of the Tejo region. Okay, and Tejo region, it's a big wine region in the center of Portugal, center-south of Portugal, but they have three very different terroirs, and we are located in the north of this region, and our soil, it's very different from the rest, the other two regions. So here we can find a lot of clay, also schist, that it's not typical from this region, but we can find the schist deposits, and also some limestone. So these three things are very important to give all the complexity that we want in the grapes. Yeah. So if the grapes will be rich, the wine will also have a nice profile. Okay. So also it's this kind of soils, and I didn't talk about the climate, but the climate it's also important. And here in Tomar, we have something that gives a lot of benefits for the grape growing. That it's a high amplitude of the low temperature during the nighttime and the high temperature during the daytime. So sometimes we are talking about 20 degrees. And this gives more concentration, more photosynthesis, and gives it's very good for the grape growing. So this reflects also into the wine. This richness, this complexity of aromas, we will find it also in this wine. The Val das Donas, to tell a little bit about Val das Donas. The Val das Donas was a brand that born to be local. okay, because we are located in Valdonas town, okay, really 5 kilometers from Tomar town, country. So the Val das Donas was, the main purpose was, okay, this wine is from that winery of Valdonas. So local people will know about it.
Yeah.
But at this moment, the red, it's the most sell wine for international.
Really?
Internationally, yes. So what started to be local brand, it's now the most international brand, it's Val das Donas.
Yeah.
And that is very important. And it's important to say that all our wines are from our own production, our own grapes. So we guarantee the same quality from the grapes that is in Val das Donas, the wine Val das Donas, as in the others. But of course, we need to select, to have a profile, and then for the demands of the market. Okay. So this Val das Donas, it's a very well balanced wine that you can see. Okay, this yellow citrine color. The grapes is Fernão Pires, 50%, but has also Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc, two of the international grapes that we put it 15 years ago, okay, for the whites. I think it's very aromatic. As you know, Fernão Pires, it's the second most aromatic grape of Portugal. So we have Muscatel, and after it's coming Fernão Pires, and we feel it in the nose.
It has always a hint of greenish herbs that is very special in this wine.
This herbaceous profile also you can find it not only in the whites, but sometimes also in the reds, and it's coming from the characteristics of the soil, but also the grapes. And also the Fernão Pires, it's giving these tangerine notes that I found here, you know, a little bit of citrine notes as well. And it's very well balanced in the mouth. I think the three grapes combines very well together. Some apple notes, I feel it as well. Nice acidity, freshness in the mouth. It's well balanced wine.
Yeah, it has for me always a bit of a basil kind of smell. You know, it has a greenish basil, maybe some other herbs as well, but basil, mostly basil. And it's also a little bit of it has a little bit of kind of hop beer kind of smell in it. It's greenish, and it's a wine that in my opinion also is a delight for food. It's very food friendly.
Almost, I would say all of our wines are very gastronomic, so it will pair perfectly with food. You can drink it the white and rosés by itself, of course, but I think they will improve with wine. They are wines with a lot of concentration, a lot of complexity, rich. They will demand for food as well.
Yeah.
So here you can have some appetizers, Portuguese appetizers. I will say like these small pastéis de bacalhau that we have, that it's made from the codfish, you know, fried. So it's going very well, because also the acidity of this wine will balance this fried pastéis de bacalhau. I don't know the English term, you know, but it's small pieces of codfish with parsley and potato together boiled. It's very good.
Yeah, it's very, very good. And I also find this wine in a very easy, uncomprehensive way to match or to pair with, like because maybe the basil notes, but with light white cheeses, tomato, so mozzarella, tomato, a little bit of grilled courgette, a little bit of grilled vegetables. So it's very, again, food-friendly wine that can.
Food-friendly wine, exactly.
Yeah.
Even with fish, with even white meat, it can go very well.
Yeah.
It's very, you know, it's very versatile wine.
So I hope people in the chat like the wine. I see a few positive comments about the wine. Again,
Yes,
it's a wine that
some tropical.
yeah, tropical food also. It's
Yes,
citric, tropical. It's it's complex, and it has a bit of an extension about different flavors. Uh, and again, it is, especially for the price, it is a very authentic, unique wine for the price that you're paying for wine like this. That's just especially what I found most
yes,
particular
yeah,
about this
yeah,
wine.
definitely, definitely.
And maybe it's a wine that a lot of or maybe people that don't drink white wine or really don't fancy white wine would learn or would appreciate because it's something different.
Yes, it's easygoing. No one will kind of find this wine difficult, you know.
No.
They will have pleasure in the first instance of tasting. It's pleasant in the mouth immediately. So these fruits are coming and involving the mouth very well.
And for the people that are tasting now, because in a few minutes we're going to the next white wine. Uh, so the grape varieties were Fernand Pires,
Yes, Chardonnay and
Sauvignon
Sauvignon
Blanc,
Blanc.
and Chardonnay. And why Sauvignon Blanc and Chardonnay? Is it what kind of decision? What's behind that?
It's we have the vineyards formed in parcels. So we have different profiles already defined that during these years we achieve. And we found this combination interesting a few years ago when we tested. And at this moment we are keeping, because this is something that wine producers also need to be careful. It's if we introduce a wine, it's well accepted. We need to try to keep the same profile. It's not easy because each year it's 1 year, but to keep the same varieties can give more or less the same profile of the wine.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
A question about this wine, Father Zones. What's the volume of production of this wine? How many bottles do you make a year? Do you have an
Yeah,
indication?
I didn't say I didn't talk about production, but we produce around 100,000 liters per year, depending if it's a good or not so good year. As you know, we are depending on the weather. This year we have until now very good prediction about the quality and about the quantity. So about the white wine, it represents, white grapes represents about 20% of our vineyards. So we produce around between this one and the Herdade dos Templários brand, more or less 12,000, 15,000 bottles per year. This
So,
one will be, I think, 7,000 bottles, 5,000 liters that we make it around 7,000 bottles.
yeah. So it's not much.
It's
So
not much.
no, for people
It's
that
not
don't,
much.
I don't know
Yeah.
if we have said this before quite wide, but you work for a small, very good winery. So it's a small winery, a family business, but not all the family business are small. You have a lot of big family businesses, but it's like really an authentic small family business. So the volume of wine is not that big, and that
It's not
is
that big.
especially very interesting for having an identity of wine like this.
We try to make in the in small quantity great wines. This is our achievement that we fight for in harvest after harvest,
Yeah,
vintage after vintage. Small quantity, but nice wines
that's
that
the
give
challenge.
pleasure to our customers, that surprise vintage after vintage our customers.
Yeah.
That's our goal.
And that's a very good goal for us wine drinkers here in the Netherlands. Um, I think a lot of people are ready for the second bottle of wine.
Yes.
Second bottle of wine is also white wine, and let me get it here. It's the estate wine. It's Herdade dos Templários.
Exactly.
So
So
now
this is our, yeah. It's our main brand.
Why the Templarios cross is on the bottle. And if you're tuning in right now, you should rewind a bit. But Herdade dos Templários is near the medieval city of Tomar, and it was the capital, or maybe still is, or it still is, the capital of the Templar Knights in Portugal. So again, Saul, can you tell us a little bit more about the grape varieties, vinification, and stuff like that?
Of course, and also about this brand. So Herdade dos Templários, as you know, our company name is Quinta do Cavalinho, okay? But this is our company name. Herdade dos Templários was our main brand. It's our main brand now, but it only came in 2002 vintage for the first time for a top wine that we had that was Garrafeira, as you know, and you have also the Garrafeira 2005. So this started with the brand Herdade dos Templários. Then we started to put not only in the top wine, but also in the rest of the mid-range wines that we have, that is Herdade dos Templários. We have white, rosé, and red. We have also a special one that is Grande Escolha, that is a single variety Touriga Nacional, okay? But this is our main brand, and it's also our company brand, not company name, but company brand, okay? Yeah. So what it here in this brand represents what we truly make and what we truly want, okay? So Herdade dos Templários, this one, of course, has Fernão Pires, because as you know, it's very typical of our region, as I told you. But it has also one of my personally favorite grapes for the whites, that it's Arinto. And Arinto, it's bringing also this freshness that we really enjoy in the wines, because if you only have the Fernão Pires, will be too aromatic for some persons, and we don't want this. We want well-balanced wines. So we decided to join Fernão Pires and Arinto, and Riesling as well, 20% of Riesling, and it's showing very harmonious in the mouth. So as you can see, Herdade dos Templários, 2018 as well. And here, if you talk about the greenish characteristic in this wine, in the previous wine, here I even found more, okay? It's very noticeable, this basil that you say, this some kind of mint as well, I can find here in the nose.
Yeah, the mint flavor is like distinguished for all the wines that you have, also the red, so the menthol, minty taste. And it's special because you have the Arinto and Fernão Pires, which are grape varieties from Portugal.
Yes.
And you have the Riesling, and Riesling is of course a grape variety that's not from Portugal but from Germany. And it is very interesting how the Riesling can give such a powerful berry in a region that is much warmer than the cool climate region that it's from.
It's true, but it really adapts well in our vineyards, and as I know, in the Tejo region. So there are other producers with this grape variety, and it's showing very well with a nice production. And it was a nice grape that we introduced to have something different also in the Portuguese market to present, because I didn't say, but Portuguese market, it's still the main market for us. So internationally, it represents like 40%. Portuguese market, it's 60%. Yeah. And and it really gets some curiosity about the Riesling in the Portuguese consumers.
It is very interesting. It is very interesting bottle of wine. People that don't know, like the Arinto grape, it's a grape with a very high acidity. Yes. And the wine has a very high acidity. The Fernão Pires, like Saul said before, it's aromatic. So the Fernão Pires gives the aromatic. And I think the Riesling adds I think the Riesling is kind of an architect of the wine. It blends the two grapes,
putting everything together.
Yeah. It blends. And maybe I don't know if you have the same opinion, but I think the Riesling maybe adapts well because of your soil. Because you said before you have more schist and maybe some lime soil, and schist, of course, it's a soil that can work really well in cool climates, but also in very warm climates, and still make very versatile fresh wines.
Our clay limestone kind of soil retains water, you know, and retains water and helps to cool also the vineyards. So it's very positive for this kind of not traditional Portuguese grapes, and they adapt very well on this kind of soils. Yes.
So a wine like this, I think, in my opinion, in terms of food pairing, it's a little bit the same profile as wine number one, right? It's a
yeah.
It gives maybe a little bit more herbiness in it.
I found it, yes, a little more herbish profile, exactly.
And in my opinion, it's maybe a little bit more for like, in the chat, I see white fish, like white fish, bacalhau, codfish, it's a white fish, but maybe also salmon. It has a little bit more body than bottle number one. It has a little bit more body.
I think more body and also more freshness in the mouth. That comes also from the Arinto. I think it's more fresh in the mouth, and this nice acidity will pair very well with a little more oily dishes or a little bit fat dishes. Acidity will help.
Yeah. The acidity is stronger, and definitely the acidity is stronger, so it's more complex, and also the aftertaste is much longer than wine number one. Eh?
Exactly.
Wine stays.
And the persistent, the mouth persistent, it's still there. It's still there. But let me just suggest also some sardines, for example. You know, some seafood as well will go very well with this wine. Yes.
I give some heads up.
We have something that is very nice. That it's green beans. We call it peixinhos da horta. That it's green beans that goes to be fried in the olive oil, for example, and goes perfectly with this wine. We also suggest this in the back label. I was just checking now, and we have these appetizers, codfish fritters, deep fried green beans, and the small sardines are typical Portuguese products that will pair very well. Of course, we need to find something similar in Holland, but you can help us on this.
Yeah, I will try. Or, I mean,
just come and we will taste the wine and taste these appetizers as well.
Yeah, that's a very good deal. Yeah, because, and I think you're pretty specific in food pairing on your label.
Yes, we try to match, you know, local wine with local iguarias, local specialities, you know, food specialities, like different ones.
It's a good thing, but because most bottles have such a short, like, food pairing, like it's in red wine, it's always like meat, like it's always the same things on the label, you know.
We try to be a little more specific and to also promote what we have here in Portugal, not only wine, but our food as well.
Yeah, that's a good. It's a good way of promoting both sides. Sometimes you have red wines, and nowadays you see more and more the vegan label on the wines, and then you have the wine, and you see on front of the label vegan, and then on the back you see food pairing meat. You know, it's always it's a very weird thing.
I didn't talk about the winemaking process, but it's a traditional winemaking process that goes to cold fermentation tanks during 2-3 weeks at 14 degrees to keep all this aromatic complexity. Okay. And of course, we didn't talk about malolactic because the whites and rosés, we don't do malolactic. So we want really greenish and fresh white wines and rosé wines.
Yeah. So you use temperature controlled fermentation,
exactly.
the alcoholic fermentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very important to keep all this aromatic concentration in the wines.
Yeah, especially in your place, because it can be pretty hot during like vinification periods in your region. You know, it's
A couple of years ago we had more than 2 or 3 days with more than 40 degrees. So in the time that was end of July, so it's really hot that time for the vineyards and for the grapes.
Yeah.
But yes, definitely it's really, you know, in the summer we can have like these 2 weeks that we have 30 degrees, more than 30 degrees all days. So it's coming really hot.
Yeah,
this summer.
nice.
This summer. Yeah, it's nice.
Nice.
It's nice.
We like.
But not too much. If it will be a little more mud, too much will burn, of course, the grapes, because they are now starting to grow.
Yeah.
To get maturation.
I think that's a challenge for a lot of winemakers in this time. How do we cope with?
Of course, the leaves protects until a certain point. After this point, nothing can protect the berries from the heat. If it will be more than 3-4 days, more than 40 degrees, there is nothing to do. Part will be damaged, of course. So let's hope that it's only 30 degrees and it's nice weather and warm weather. Not hot weather, warm weather.
No, warm. Pleasant weather. So do you use like to protect the berries from the sun? Is it something? Is the canopy management? Do you use the canopy management for protecting the berries from the sun, or
at this moment we don't need? So we don't use. We will, like our winemaker that's supposed to be here with us, but unfortunately he could not at last minute. We need to check, measure every day, every week, to check the point of situation, not only of the vines, but also the soil. It's very important to predict what can happen. So at this moment, we don't need to put to protect the grapes at that point from the sun.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I hope a lot of people like this wine. I see good opinions about the wine. Again, it's special. It's something different. It's a little bit of the same profile as number one, but it has some, in my opinion,
more complexity on the Herdade dos Templários, and especially because of the Arinto as well, more freshness and more depth of tasting.
Yeah. So this wine is a blend of Arinto, Fernão Pires, and Riesling. A very interesting and challenging combination of grapes. So we proceed. So we are closing the white section of this evening, and we're going on to the rosé. And in my opinion, a rosé that has a lot of extra. Besides the rosés that we drink a lot in the Netherlands now, it's the Provence light, high acidity kind of rosé. But it's a totally different rosé. It's again from the Templarios brand. It changed a bit over the last years in terms of grape varieties, but I'm very happy with this last grape variety. So Saul, again, give us a heads up about the grape variety and how you make this rosé and the profile.
To start a little bit with the rosé was the kind of wine that we introduced in our wine range with the 2010 vintage. Okay, and at that time we were doing with Touriga Nacional, mostly Touriga Nacional, or 100% Touriga Nacional. But I saw that was too heavy rosé. It was really too strong. It was like the body of a red with the freshness of a white. But the international market were looking for some lighter rosés. So we tried last year, and we keep it in this year as well. But this year with a little more color. The Merlot as the main variety. It's the only variety here in this wine. The Merlot to make the rosé. Last year we introduced the Merlot as a rosé. and it sold out very quickly. The rosé was a huge success, was aromatic, was fresh, was a barbecue rosé. So because of this success, we kept for this year the same process and the same grape variety, Merlot. It's a fruity rosé, fresh rosé with some structure as well that can go with food. But a little more color, as you know, in the process, winemaking process, we can control more or less the color depending on the time that it's in contact with the skins. Okay, yeah. But sometimes a little time makes a difference. But I think it's a beautiful color as well.
It's so again, Sal explained it's 100% Merlot, so it's a grape variety, definitely not native to Portugal, but in my opinion gives a great fresh but also round rosé.
Yes, this red fruits, this it's showing very aromatic in the nose.
And in my opinion, it's okay. It's not the salmon color that we want, but hey, you know, this is a beautiful color as well. You know, it's
bright color.
Yeah, it's bright. It's lively. It's a little bit more pink, red. It's a wonderful color.
These strawberry notes,
are
very well integrated with the acidity. Because I really find this wine also gastronomic because of the acidity. It's a really refresh wine.
But what I really like about this wine is that, for example, during a barbecue, with my own experience, you can drink it just before the barbecue, during the barbecue,
and after
the barbecue.
Yes, it's true.
And that's something that, in my opinion, is very difficult with a lot of Provence light colored rosés that have a high acidity, because after dinner or maybe during dinner, it's very hard to pair. And this is a rosé that is first up and has a little bit of the fruity notes are pleasant and are drinkable also when it's getting later and it's getting, you know, it's a very easy rosé with a lot of complexity.
But we can try like a different surprise, like making some pair with some you know, dessert will go also very well. So you really can end a meal with this, with an ice cream, with some nice dessert, with kind of lime. This ice cream, for example, will go very well, will balance very well.
Yeah, with maybe a little bit small amount of menthol and chocolate.
Exactly.
It's a very rich rosé. It's 100% Merlot.
And it has also some creamy notes here in the mouth. It's very well integrated.
Yeah. It's very well balanced. The balance is from the front to the back. It's very pleasant.
The process,
true to
the process of winemaking, it's very similar with white. The only difference is that it keeps time, a couple of hours with the skins to have this nice color.
Yeah. And it doesn't rage across the palate. It stays very soft. You know, it's
smooth.
Not
smooth. Yes.
Yeah, it's very smooth in the
creamy notes that we found that involves very well the tasting.
Yeah. And I think rosés like this should definitely get more attention from the Dutch rosé drinkers, because we are used to now watching a bottle, see the color, and then decide on the color to buy a rosé. And it's way better to decide on the taste to buy a rosé. And this is a rosé that deserves the attention.
Yeah, to taste and to decide, it's always the best way. And sometimes you have very nice surprises. And I think it's the case of this rosé. It's very well balanced, like you said. It can go with the food or without the food, before the barbecue, during the barbecue, goes very well. It's very well made.
Yeah. So don't judge by color, but judge by the taste.
Also very small production, like the white, but even less. So we make around 5,000 bottles of this wine.
It's a
So
very,
it's very, yeah, it's very, very specific.
yeah. So it's a pleasure to have it. And for the people, the whites are the 2018 still.
Yes, yes.
We are going to change to the 2019 in a couple of months. But the rosé is already the 19, so the 19.
Yes, yeah. Because as I told you before, the previous rosé was a huge success and it sold out very quickly. So we had to try to put in the market the soon as possible the new rosé for our customers.
Yeah.
And also because for the whites, we are introducing now new white wines that soon you will heard about. With aged in the lees in wood barrels, new oak barrels.
Yeah.
So we'll have nice surprises for 2019 vintages. Yes.
Very, very good to have new wines.
Yeah.
And very interesting to taste some new wines from your estate.
Exactly.
I have, and I was always a little bit intrigued about this one as well. There's a question about how is it that, and we didn't even start to taste the red wines, that all the wines have a little bit of menthol flavor in it.
This is, like you said in the beginning,
right?
this greenish profile is something that these balsamic notes, it's something that you will find through all the wines.
Yeah.
In the reds, but in the whites, in the rosés, and this is what I call the terroir, the grape where they are raised, and the profile. It's like this, and it's giving this mint, this balsamic notes, not in the only in the reds, but also in the white.
Yeah, I think it's
floral as well. This floral notes, we can find it easily.
It's a combination about grape varieties and especially soil, and with soil we mean terroir. So it's also you guys have a lot of eucalyptus trees around you, pine trees.
Pine trees, exactly. Yeah.
And
we are
all
surrounded.
these flavors, they combine into the soil, into the grape, and on some magical way, the character of this wine, in terms of the combination of the grapes and this terroir, results in the menthol flavors.
The wines are the pictures of the landscape where they are born. So
yeah.
What surrounds you, it's also into the wine. Yeah. It's part of the terroir.
It again, a beautiful wine, and it's a wine that is very interesting. It's €7.95 in the wine shop. So for less than €8, you have a wonderful glass of rosé that is way different from a lot of other rosés from a small producer.
It's not because it's fruity, and we can find the strawberry, the cherry in the nose, but in the mouth it's fresh, so it's not sweet. It's not a sweet rosé. Will be perfect for a meal, for example. Will not be too much aromatic or fruity in the mouth. It's a well balanced rosé.
Yeah. It is. Again, a pleasure to have you, Saul, and a pleasure to taste the wine.
To be here.
Yeah. So, of course, we have 8 wines tonight to taste. So, so the tasting will be a little bit more upfront and fast than the previous tastings. But again, 8 wines, so we need to have a little bit of focus on what we are doing. We close down the whites and the rosé, and we proceed with the lion part of the tasting, and it's the red wines. So we have 4 red wines, number 4, 5, 6, and 7. Wines that maybe need a little bit of explanation about the profile. So we start, and Saul already got the bottle. We both have a place to put the bottles. You have
exactly.
So.
Mines are on top.
So maybe we can use. We can do a dance. We can do a dance.
Let's hope that no one falls.
No. Or again, for viewers, it's a good thing for YouTube, to have like a bottle of wine on your head. But let's hope not, because we need to have more information about the tasting. So we have the first red wines. So of course, it's It's the red example of the white Faves Donas.
Yeah.
Again, beautiful label. And a total different wine from what you maybe expect from red wines. So be prepared of pouring a bottle, because we top them off pretty tight. So be sure to get all the wine into your glass and not on your gray or white couch.
So Val das Donas red wine, it's the wine that we produce the most, obviously, because nowadays is also the wine that we export the most. But as I said to you, it's made from our own vineyards, and we make around 30,000 bottles of this wine. The grape varieties usually for this wine, on this wine, it's Castelão, very typical, and that we preserve in our winery, in our vineyards. Aragonês, it's very traditional also from the region. As you know, Aragonês can have other names in Portugal, and this sometimes gives some confusion to the customers that thinks that it's a different grape, but it's not, it's the same, as well as Fernão Pires, as I talk. But as also Alicante Bouschet, that gives also a nice complement to this wine and more deep color on this wine. Because as you know, Castelão, it's a very fruity grape with a nice acidity, but with medium color. So this Castelão, this Alicante Bouschet will give more complexity, color complexity as well to the wine. So we will serve a little bit. The red fruit notes, it's coming already in the nose, but also some floral, some cherry. It doesn't have the wine making process, doesn't have oak aging, so it's we can find here also a focus on primary aromas, this fruity aroma, this young aroma that we can find here. It's very pleasant.
Yeah. It's a young, easygoing wine with a nice profile, soft, a little
round tannins.
Yeah.
Round tannins, it's going very well. Of course, we'll ask some food as well, in my opinion, to pair it. We can talk about some Portuguese traditional dishes, but I will say some roast chicken or grilled meat will go very well, or some also Portuguese charcuterie, some ham will go, or cheese will go very well with this wine.
Yeah, definitely. A very nice wine, young wine, fresh, good aromas, menthol. I hope it is for us. It's always I hope it's in good condition, because we pour from like this bottle into small bottles, and now it goes good, but you know, everything needs to be good because we stayed in a few days with this small cap. So I hope for everybody it's in good condition. It's in good condition here, but I hope for you the same.
This wine is a wine to be enjoyable in the first instance and to be enjoyable to everyone, you know. It's not so much complexity that you can find it, but it's you are with friends, you are having a tasting, and it's going very easily and have fruity notes with some acidity, some freshness. It's going very well.
Yeah, good. Very nice wine. I hear a question about that some wines have a deposit, have depot in the wine.
This is something that can happen with the time and with the different temperatures, namely when it passes through a winter, for example, can happen, because you know that for us to have this nice profile, nice complexity, and nice richness, we try to not filter so much the wines, and because of this, they also can precipitate a little bit, but this is a natural thing that happens into the wines, especially the reds, because they are not going for the cold process. But it's not a problem. It's, I think, a nice sign that we have a rich wine that you can enjoy.
It's a good thing to have sediment in the wine.
The natural precipitation of the color of the wine.
Yeah, sediment, it means it's not filtered, so you have more authentic tastes in the wine than with filtered wine. So it's a good thing. You're not going to be sick from it. Some people have it on toast.
We even make this comment in the back label because some customers are not so much familiar with it.
Yeah.
So we say that it's stabilized unfiltered wine. Natural sediment may occur, but this is something very natural and not a problem, of course, not at all. In the whites and the rosés, we don't see these because they have a cold fermentation and cold process to not happen this precipitation.
So if you have a bit of an old bottle from Templarios or from most of the wines I sell at the wine shop, you know, before pouring, put them standing up for a while and not pour like the last finger, and then you have all the sediment in the bottle.
Or you can decant it and gently stop in the end a little bit, and everything will be in the bottle.
Yeah. So good, nice wine. We can, in my opinion, proceed to a more serious red wine.
Yeah.
The next red, it's number 5. It's the Herdade dos Templários, 2017.
So here we are introducing the famous Portuguese grape variety that is Touriga Nacional on this Herdade dos Templários. We have Touriga Nacional, we have also the traditional Castelão of our region, and also Cabernet Sauvignon, 20% Cabernet Sauvignon, that gives also this structure to the wine. So let me just open the bottle. I didn't have time before. So this wine has already some aging, okay, in used oak barrels for 6 months. What we don't want in the wines is to hide the primary aromas, the variety profile. So this is something that we don't abuse into the oak aging to preserve these fruity aromas that we love it and the consumers are looking for.
In the nose, it has a very little hint of oak, so it's very delicate. It's almost no oak, but it's a little hint.
It's 6 months to give some complexity to the wine, and also to round some nice tannins.
And the oak you're using is old oak barrels, right? It's 5, 6, 7, 8 years old oak.
5, 6 on this one, yes.
Yeah.
On the new oak, we will taste the next wine. It's new oak, and you will see that it has a more tertiary aromas that comes also from the oak aging. But this one we can find, in my opinion, I really can find the red plum, you know, in the nose, some jam. It's very velvet tannins in the mouth with persistent. Some spicy notes as well, slightly spice.
Yeah. And strong tannins. So in the nose, it's jammy, it's soft. And then when you taste it, you feel like, this is red wine. This is, and also this for me is terroir in its best way. It's strong. It has the characteristics of
body. It's a bold wine, more deep than the previous one, more intensity, aromatic, and in the tasting as well. It's the tannins are more present, but as well rounded, silky tannins. It's a wine very well integrated, I think. Also asking for food again.
Yeah.
Asking the tannins are also asking from the nice beef with some cheese as well. Can go very well with the cheese, strong cheese. Yeah. Or some oven dishes, meals.
It has for me a lot of the dried plum, the dried plum kind of shamminess. It's really strong. And again, of course, this is not a wine, or for a lot of people, for me it is, but I think for a lot of people, it's not a wine to enjoy maybe sitting on the couch, watching Netflix just on its own, because it's a wine that needs, it needs food. It's food, it's food parable in a different level.
Yeah. It's really the complexity of this wine requires, or will be better with something to get together and to clean the mouth from these nice tannins. Will pair well.
And it's a wonderful wine. And again, the price quality ratio of a wine like this, it's also €7.95. And then you have an extremely good bottle of red wine that it's age worthy as well. It's a wine that you can keep up in your cellar for a few years, and it will be stronger. The tannins that you have now in the back of your mouth, that the dryness will be a little bit less, and it will be stronger in terms of jammy notes, maybe some tertiary notes. So it's a very, very nice wine, but also to cellar up. It's a good wine for in your cellars to keep it for a few years. And then for €7.95, you have an extremely nice bottle to drink now, but to keep a bottle for next year and the year after and the year after, and to see how this wine evolves.
The acidity and the complexity of this wine can last for a long time, and we know this because we had already previous vintages. And I remember that last year, for example, or the year before, you were giving for tasting the 2005 on the WijnHALL, and it was beautiful wine, also with one of the grapes that is Castelão. That Castelão is also improving with the age and showing, besides this fruity character, after with the time will show us some dried fruits like dried fig that will show very well. But this with the age, at this moment, it's perfect to drink, to have this really red plum aroma and nice acidity.
Yeah, and again, you stay true to the grapes. It's a little bit of oak, but it's mostly grapes that you're tasting, and that's something I think the modern wine drinker wants. They want to have grapes and terroir and not oak.
Yeah, you have here also the body of Cabernet and Touriga Nacional. They are combining very well together, and they are showing very well in the nose and the palate, with some deep profile and also intensity in the mouth. It's not a wine that you drink and goes out easily. No, it still remains, has a nice persistence.
In terms of freshness, but also in terms of fruit. So it both stays. And it has a little bit of chocolatey cacao
Yes.
aromas.
Also, these balsamic notes that I mentioned, also hear some kind of present on this wine, I think. But it's something that we will find in in all the wines.
I have a lot of positive feedback in the live chat.
Of this wine.
So that's a good
Nice.
thing. That's a good thing,
Yeah.
because they always say, say what you think. I mean, taste is very subjective. So if you like the wine, you like the wine. But maybe there's a wine between them that you think, nah, it's not really my wine or not really my thing. Keep it coming. We are happy to explain, especially wines like this, to explain what you, or not what you're tasting. You know what you're tasting, but to explain the story behind the wine.
Yeah, this wine represents really our genuine ADN, if you want,
Yeah.
DNA. So it really represents what we do the best. It's well-balanced wine, but fruity, rich wine with some complexity. Rounded tannins, goes very well with the food, with the cheese, will be a perfect match.
Yeah. For people that didn't put the Cellium in the fridge, now is a good time to put it in the fridge. I saw it in the live chat as well. But because the last two red wines are the most, not the most important, but yeah, we're topping a little bit, so we're going up the notch and now going to 6 and 7. But put the Cellium in the fridge right now, and it will be in perfect condition for you to taste when we are ready for the Cellium. So I'll give you a few seconds to get it back from the fridge. So don't worry. And it's in a small bottle, so it will be chilled quite fast.
Before Cellium, we need to talk about two beautiful wines, red wines. So first is the Convento de Tomar, that I'm now opening the bottle.
Yeah.
Convento
About
de Tomar,
Herdade dos Templários Tinto, what's the number of bottles, approximately, what you produce on the Herdade Templários Tinto?
around 15,000 bottles, 15,000 bottles. So Val das Donas around 30,000, these 15,000 bottles. Just to say that it's colheita selecionada, that means something like select harvest, so it's already a quality designation, and it's that guarantees a nice wine.
Yeah. So we're going to the next wine, Convento do Tomar.
Convento de Tomar, I will say that it's now our flagship, the brand Convento de Tomar.
Yeah.
Herdade dos Templários is the main and the company brand, but Convento de Tomar, year after year, vintage after vintage, has been a huge success. Also because we focus on a profile since 2011, the first time that we launched this wine for the market, with Touriga Nacional 50%, 25% Cabernet Sauvignon, 25% Syrah. And this combination is resulting very well in this wine. Bold wine, a fruity wine with some spicy notes, new oak barrels aging for 8 months. And it's very well integrated with some acidity as well. We will taste it. Convento de Tomar, as you may know, Remer, is the Convento de Cristo, the famous monument of our city, the headquarters of the Templars, the castle of the Templars that after was a convent, okay? And this is a famous window of that monument that also represents the discoveries and has a lot of meaning. So when we released this wine, we said this will be our reserva. So we want this wine to shine. And it's shining vintage after vintage with a lot of awards, gold awards, but also with our positive customers' feedback. Let me just say to you that we started with 5,000 liters in 2011, and now we are with 20,000 bottles. So we are having great feedback about this wine.
Yeah, it's a wonderful wine. So as Saul told, it's this this image is like a very important framework in the monastery, in the convento of Thomas. And it's still intact and it's still there. So it's very interesting and it's wonderful to see.
It's a tribute to the Templars. It's a tribute to our city, a tribute to this monument that is World Heritage.
Yeah.
And we always find the best blend that we have to put in this on this wine. And at this moment, it's one of our flagships. It's the Convento Mar Reserva. And you see, because you take it in the nose and you see this intensity, it's showing beautiful. Also, because of this 50% of Touriga Nacional, you'll see this violet floral profile that I enjoy. Personally, I enjoy.
Yeah.
Not only red fruits, but it's floral as well.
And the grape varieties are a bit different from the last wine, right?
Yes, here we are not putting Castelão. That was in the previous two red wines, in the Vale das Donas and in Herdade dos Templários. So we selected Touriga Nacional, the Cabernet Sauvignon as the other one, but we introduced Syrah. And Syrah, it's giving also these spicy notes, this this kind of chocolate notes in the end, this clove that I found here as well, this black pepper. It's coming very well together with the Cabernet and of course the Touriga Nacional, that is the main grape. But I feel the Touriga Nacional really in the nose, this floral profile in the nose.
It is way stronger in the nose.
Yeah.
It's rounder than the previous glass.
Yeah.
And it has it's more oaky. It has
because it is 8 months in new oak barrels,
yeah.
French
yeah.
oak barrels. So it is we feel this more structure and more oaky notes. Yes.
Yeah. But the power of the wine is that the grape varieties, especially I think the Touriga has like Touriga has a way of somehow overpowering oak. So Touriga is a grape variety that that can be tamed with oak barrels. It always stays fresh.
Yes.
It stays round, so it's
there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
the
a good thing
as well. But once again, not too much oak to overhide to hide the fruity character of the grapes, and we want these floral notes and not only oaky notes from the aging.
And this is in terms of, because the previous wine was a 2017 vintage.
Yeah.
So the Herdade dos Templários is 2017, and the Tomar is a 16.
Is the 16.
Yeah. So
a little more time to get this perfect profile that we wanted to achieve, and also more time in the aging as well.
Yeah. So it's definitely not an old wine. It has aging potential for a lot of years, but it's still so fresh, and it's so round, and it has so much flavor. And the Syrah gives it the peppery notes. It gives extra peppery notes to the wine, the Syrah, in my opinion.
Yes, yes. I see some black pepper as well, some clove as well, some coffee bean in the end of the mouth. It's really nice, but also the fruit character of the Touriga Nacional and the Cabernet Sauvignon with this plum, these red fruits, this red cherry that I see here, ripe red cherry.
Yeah. And again, it's a wine full of character. It's the same small producer, but it has you taste it's from a different lot. The Syrah gives it an extra spiciness. The new oak adds the wine some extra flavor, but still it stays true to its identity. Really, really good wine.
I would say that it's a wine with personality. It's really you need to taste it and feel it. The words are not enough to describe this wine, you know.
No, and it's maybe more of a relaxing on the couch wine than the previous one. You know,
Exactly, it
it
is.
will pair very good with food, but it's also very easy, just enjoying, sitting on the couch, watching Netflix, Disney Channel, doesn't matter, but to enjoy this wine. No, it's really
Yeah.
easy. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I found this aroma in the nose seductive. You know, you smell it and it's pleasant.
Yeah, yeah.
Not even if you don't need to taste it and you are already enjoying the wine.
Yeah, you can smell this wine for hours if you want.
Exactly. Hope the viewers are enjoying as well.
Yeah, yeah.
This
Sorry, here they
reserva.
are. Here they are. Yeah, I should give you a heads up, but yeah, they really like the wines and the profile of this of this wine, especially because it's yeah, we're going up a bit in terms of in my expression of the wine, and this is really good example of expression.
And the tannins are present, but are very well integrated in everything else, in the acidity. It really keeps in the mouth um, very round, silky way. You taste it and it's still there, and just after 2 minutes you will taste again.
A nice wine with a nice profile.
These violet flowers that comes as well in the nose.
Yeah. Heerlijk. Lovely, lovely, lovely. This is a wine that you can enjoy with a lot of dishes, but again, also just relaxing.
By itself.
Yeah, yeah. It's a standalone wine, but if you enjoy your barbecue, this is also a pretty nice wine to go to start during the cooking at the barbecue, but also during eating and enjoying your meat and vegetables from the barbecue. Yeah, strong, good,
Yeah.
and it all comes down to the taste, and it's wonderful. Yeah, good. I hope everybody likes this wine. Again, it's a wine. Sorry, I keep saying it, but also this wine, it's only €11.95. So it's again a very reasonable price for a lot of wine, and it's also a wine to sell up a bit. It's age-worthy. It has aging potential. Um, uh, Buy an extra bottle or two, put it in your cellar, wait a few years, and it will develop wonderful. This is a wine. I think the last vintage was 2014. 14, right? Yeah, you're getting 14. Yeah.
You know that the 14th this year, no, because we had this COVID situation and some competitions, international competitions were cancelled.
Yeah.
But the 14 was the most well awarded wine that we had since ever. So it was, I think, 6 medals. Was a really nice. Also in the critic. In the reviewers in the wine competitions, very well positioned.
Yeah, yeah.
But the most important is the customers' feedback, and this is what it's the most important, of course.
Yeah.
And as I say to you, we started with 5,000, 6,000, around 7,000 bottles, 5,000 liters, and now we are with 20,000. So it's even more than the Herdade dos Templários. It's increasing. Yeah. This wine is showing so well that we need to increase the production. But of course, we are limited, so we will increase as much as we can. We will not make 100,000 bottles of this wine. We cannot. So it's limited productions. All of our wines are limited production. We have 18 hectares of vineyards. I didn't say this. I said about the property has 30 hectares, but vineyards we have 18 hectares.
Yeah.
And we don't have this big production as in other countries or areas, so we have a limited production that we need to focus then in all of these wines. But this is one of the wines that we are focusing now.
Yeah, but that's a good thing to have a limited production. You know, keeps it special and it keeps it authentic. So
we are a small team, we are a small winery, you know, but it's you can find here the genuine wines and the essence of Herdade dos Templários, you know, some personal also part of us. It's here in the wines.
Yeah, and it's this is really a wine you can enjoy, in my opinion, all year long. You know, during summer, during winter, during it matches dishes throughout the year. Again, Convento do Tomar, visit the Convento do Tomar, and the grape varieties. It's Cabernet Sauvignon, Shiraz, and Touriga Nacional. So it's the main blend from the left bank of the Bordeaux, the Cabernet Sauvignon. It's Shiraz, the wine, the red wine from the Rhone Valley, and it's Touriga Nacional. And Touriga Nacional is indigenous, a native grape from Portugal.
Three great grapes.
Yeah, these three grapes, and that's a little bit of the power of Portuguese wines. We had it in previous tastings. Portuguese wines are often blends, and it's not that the wines that are not blended are not good, but the power is mostly in the blends. And this is a wine where you can really taste that power. You know, these three grape varieties
combines very well together.
Yeah.
This is the winemaker as well. Role is to combine these grapes to achieve a better wine in the end.
Yeah. And are there grape varieties due to the maybe climate change in your winery that maybe overripe a bit, or that you think about should go, or is it how is your opinion on that?
At this moment, Portugal, I think it's until now fine with it, and we can control it by imagine that a couple of decades ago the harvesting was in October. Now it's in September, so we can control it by the time of the harvesting until now. But of course, the climate changes are a threat, and there are some countries that are facing this more than us. But until now, we are dealing with it by measuring before the harvesting to achieve the perfect maturation, the perfect ripeness, the perfect sugar concentration of the grapes. But of course, the harvesting now it's coming earlier. We saw this also in the white wines that sometimes we are making in August already. It's not usual to make was not usual.
Was not. But you are using you may use irrigation systems in your winery, right?
Exactly. I didn't refer about this, but this is something very important to avoid the hydric stress of the plant, because here the summer can be very hot during a very long time. As I said before, we have 2 weeks with the temperatures above 30 degrees, so this is a lot. And sometimes we need to put the exact amount of water that each kind of vineyard, of vine, of grape variety needs, and we can control it. And at this moment, it will be even more important in the future, because the weather it's more and more unpredictable. And this investment that we make in this 15 years ago renovation, it's assuring us some quality also in the future. The better the grape, the better the wine. There is no.
That's the grape is very important as well. You know,
we say that we are working almost 1 year we are working almost 1 year in the vineyard for 1 month in the, you know, in the winery for the harvesting. The most important of our work, it's in the field, controlling and the taking care of the grapes as best as we can.
Yeah, and you should. Again, I have this Convento do Tomar is a wine for cellar up. I just a few months ago I tasted the 2013 wine, and it was still so amazingly good. So, do you still have old vintages in stock in the winery at your place, or?
We have some special ones, like I will say the Garrafeira 2005 that you had for tasting, a special tasting 1 year ago or 2 years ago, I don't remember. But we do have some samples of the vintages, and we are tasting them and seeing what it's coming, because some of them has more than 15 years or 20 years. We have ones of more than 20 years, and we are tasting, and this is something that it's very typical of our region. They are aging very well. The acidity levels are persistent and are keeping freshness and lively. The wines, after 10 years or after 20 years, they are still, you know, good for drinking, live. Of course, with different profile, more dried fruits than red fruits, but they are aging very well.
Yeah.
We do have some nice old vintages to taste. Personally, I think that the wines get better with the age, you know.
Yeah, they will. They will.
They need time. The wines need time. And there was one comment that you said a few time ago. I'm not worried about your wines, but because I know that the wines are, you know, aging very well.
It's the reds. Your reds are, again, with this wine, the 2016. It's already really nice, but it had a lot of aging potential, and it will be better within a few years.
Yes, in a couple of years will be even better, but it's ready to drink now.
And I think especially this starts especially in the from the Convento do Tomar range. These are wines that will improve a lot. So we have finished bottle number 6, and we can proceed to the last wine, the Grande Escola. Let me get the wine. So the wine before was Convento do Tomar, 2016. This is the Herdade dos Templários, 2014, right? You have the 2014 as well, right?
Exactly. And we jumped to Convento do Tomar because of the vintage year. Okay, we were in the 17 with the Val das Donas and the Herdade dos Templários, then 16 with the Convento do Tomar. Now we are going, like you were saying about the wines are aging very well, we are going to the 14. So already a long time in the bottle. And this will show us how the wine will improve. This is a single variety, Touriga Nacional. We make a very, very small quantity of this wine with 15 months in oak barrels. So that's why also it's 14. It's an older vintage, but it's a very elegant wine, showing everything that Touriga Nacional can represent in our region. It's really nice wine.
There's I don't use about because you sell most of the wines in Portugal.
Yes.
But abroad, what other countries are you exporting to?
So we start the export because we always had great wines since we started our own winemaking with building the winery in 1902. We started with great wines, but mainly focus not even in Portugal, but in regional markets. Okay, then we started with my incoming to the company to start to go also for the other parts of Portugal. And in 2000 and perhaps 10, 11, we start to export more and more. And now we are in around 12 countries. Always small partners, like we are a small winery, but we do export for United States, for Brazil. In EU, we export for you. We send wines for you to Germany, to Luxembourg, to Poland, to Italy as well. It's funny.
Really?
Exactly, exactly. And also the one recent, it's already 3 or 4 years now. China, it's becoming an important client of us. Especially because of the Val dos Donas, that represents a very good price quality relation. And because of this client, we send the Val dos Donas to one of the most important wine competitions in the Asia, that it's China Wine Experience Awards. And the Val dos Donas was there and won a gold medal.
Yeah, really.
So this is important for these customers, this medal, and it's showing very well. So we have also, I didn't talk about Letonia, that we also have a partner there. So we are a little bit all over the world.
Yeah, that's good.
As well as in Canada, but Canada, it's a different system because there are tenders, and you submit your wine to the tenders, and they select the LCBO select which ones.
You have the same as in Scandinavia,
exactly,
right?
Exactly.
Monopoly system.
Yeah, but we are increasing, and this is nice. Also, we are going to Provine exhibition where we meet always. Hammer. This year, unfortunately, we could not meet there. But it's an important exhibition, a way to find our actual customers, but also new customers. And this is improving the sales internationally.
So for people to pour the Grande Scola, this is a wine, maybe you see me like doing this. This is a wine that needs air. So, give it air because it will open up and it will be wonderful, but give it a bit of air.
The aroma, it's so beautiful, so
Tourica, so this is 100% Tourica Nacional. And Tourica Nacional can be a little bit overwhelming, complex, like regardless of the style, but Tourica Nacional can be in all styles a little bit of complex and overwhelming. Some Tourica stay fresh for a very long time, a very long period of time. You have still the freshness. This is a Tourica which, in my opinion, has more of the terroir and the heritage of the Templars. It's stronger. It's already oxidated a bit, so it's heavier in the palate. It's rough, and it has a lot of power to it. So it's a wine that you need to get to know a bit, and again, give it air. It's a 2014, but air opens up this wine and makes it accessible for a lot of people. So I'm very happy to see what people think about.
I always say to my friends and to the customers that you need to discover this wine. The others are showing immediately what they have. This, you need to go for it. You need time. You need to appreciate an older vintage, but you will find it very elegant. Very the tannins are rounded, are showing very well balanced wine with some fruity notes still. The persistent, it's very high as well. And also demanding food, this wine.
Yeah, it's demanding food, and if you give it a little bit more time and and air, it's getting more a profile of ruby port, which Touriga Nacional is the main grape for a lot of port wines. And you really have the same taste on the palate of the port. It's strong, it's fresh, it's dark fruit, it's force fruit. And in my opinion, it's a complex wine. It's something different from the Convento de Tomar, but it's a very good wine. It's a very good wine.
I think this wine you will appreciate it after half an hour or 1 hour. You know, you need to have time and relax, and then you will find the truly sense of this wine.
Yeah. And it's still young. So 2014 is still young.
Yeah.
It
Nice
can
acidity.
It can age pretty. And the nice thing about the Touriga Nacional is that you can have different wines made from 100% Touriga Nacional, and all the wines have a total different profile. And it's because of the background of the wine, and it's
depending on the terroir, of course.
Yeah.
But Touriga Nacional, it's one grape that it's growing very well in our region and becoming more and more famous in our region as well. And as you know, it's not only on this one, but it's for our premium wines, Herdade dos Templários, Convento de Tomar, and this special selection, it's part of it. It's one of the grapes that are in the most prestigious wines of that we produce.
And it also has like the bit of a barn kind of taste, and that's something I really like. It's the for the Dutch views, it has a bit of boers in it, and that's something I really appreciate about this wine.
Once again, you see the oak, but you don't see so much oak.
No.
And it has 15 months in oak aging, but used barrels.
In terms of food pairing, this is a wine, in my opinion, that is very good with game. It's very good with deer. I think it has a very good potential of strong grilled meat. So strong grilled fatty meat. Leitão, a grilled pork belly. It's very good with dishes like this because it's strong. It has the earthiness. So I think that's duck. It can be with duck as well, but you have to take care that you use the duck breast, so it has like a little bit of fattiness. It needs to have a little bit of fattiness, in my opinion. Maybe Saul, you have some food pairing.
You were talking about the meats, and I was remembering about a famous Portuguese dish that involves several meats, that it's cozido à portuguesa. So Portuguese boiled, that joins a lot of not only meat, but sausage. And it's going very well because it's an intense meal, intense dish that goes pairing. This wine can pair it and be at the level of this kind of intense dish.
Yeah. It's even though it's rough.
Also some lamb can go very well with this dish. I think some lamb, some grilled meat as well.
Yeah.
Roast meat.
But again, some air will open this wine up.
And the persistence of this wine, it's unbelievable. The persistence.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's even higher than the previous ones.
It's definitely stronger in terms of tannin.
Gentle, subtle, but it's still there.
Yeah.
these three last red wines are really, really enjoyable.
Yeah, these are wines that we should drink maybe more often, but these are wines that are special in a way and yeah, should be drunk more often. Oh,
are you there?
I am there, but my camera is
Off.
Let me check.
I can continue.
Yeah, you can continue. Just go on.
Yeah. Now, after the whites, the rosé, the reds. Also, this red I didn't talk about, but being an old vintage, the Herdade dos Templários Grande Escolha. Grande Escolha, it's a quality designation, as well as reserva or as well as colheita selecionada. We select the designation that we want to be approved by the commission. But it can go very well with, we said, strong main meals, dishes, but can goes very well because it's an old vintage with the desserts, okay? With some sweet desserts can balance very well. It has potential for that. We have one special dessert in Tomar. I don't know if Hammer tried or no when was here. That is fatias de Tomar. That basically it's eggs and sugar.
Yeah.
So imagine that this can be, you know, sweet. But with a sweet dessert, I will not recommend, for example, the selling that we will taste now, but one of these old vintages like we tasted before, okay? Will go very well with this sweet fatias de Tomar, for example, that it's a typical dessert of our region. The Cellium.
So this is the wine. So Cellium, can you explain a little bit more about the name of the wine?
Of course, Cellium born first because of one of our passions about one grape, that is Muscatel Roxo, translated purple pink Muscat. That was almost extinguished, but there was one producer that recovered it, and now it's more present in our country. About Cellium brand, we wanted this wine because it's a different wine. It's not a red, white, or rosé. It's a dessert wine, but can also be aperitif wine. I prefer dessert because of his complexity. I will not start with this complexity in the beginning. I will save it for the end. We wanted a different wine to fill up our range, and we tried to make we put it the Muscatel purple pink Muscat grape in our winery, and we started with the first production of this wine in 2010. The Cellium, it's a liquor fortified wine. The process, winemaking process, is similar with the port wine if you want, but with the purple pink Muscat grape. So what we do about the winemaking process of this wine, that it's different of the other ones, it's in the alcoholic fermentation. In the other wines goes until the end. On this one, we stop it in 4 or 5%, and by adding the aguardente, this spirit that we have of 70%, that has no color, no smell, you know, and gives this structure and also this sweet profile with high residual sugar as well on this wine. That brings a wine perfect for a dessert, or in my opinion, I always say to my friends, if you don't have dessert, this wine can be the dessert. And we will taste now, and we will check it now.
Yeah. For people, maybe I can do a short explanation about the vinification in Dutch to give a little bit of update. So if you let me, Sal, I give a small explanation. Mensen, deze wijn is een dessertwijn. En dessertwijn heb je in vele vormen en soorten. En deze dessertwijn wordt, zoals Saul al zei, gemaakt van de rode muskaat, de Moscatel Roxo. En hoe wordt deze wijn dan gemaakt? De druiven worden gewoon rijp geplukt. Dus hetzelfde als dat je de wijn voor de de druiven voor de andere wijnen zou plukken. Alleen het magische van wijn maken is de gistcel. En de gistcel die eet suikers en die maakt van die suikers alcohol. Die gistcel heeft ongeveer 17 gram suiker nodig om 1% alcohol te maken. En dat is per liter. Dus hij heeft een serieuze hoeveelheid suiker nodig om tot een bepaald alcoholpercentage te komen. Alleen die gistcel, net als ons, heeft niet het eeuwige leven. Die gistcel sterft bij ongeveer 16% alcohol. Dus als je het alcoholpercentage maar hoog genoeg maakt, dan sterven die gistcellen af. De basis van deze wijn, van die Cellium, is dezelfde basis als bij port. Dus ze laten die alcoholische vergisting opkomen. Die gistcellen gaan aan de slag. Die eten wat suikers, maken wat alcohol. Maar die zijn maar op een 1,5 graden alcohol, of 1,6 of 1,7. En dan voegt de wijnmaker een brandy toe, een destillaat van alcohol. Een aguardent heet dat in Portugal. Van 77% alcohol. Dat voegt hij toe, waardoor het alcoholpercentage naar een 18% gaat. En bij die 18% sterven dus die gistcellen af. Die gistcellen kunnen dus geen suiker meer consumeren, sterven af. En dus blijft er uiteindelijk in het eindproduct veel meer suiker over. Nou, nadat die wijn klaar is, rijpt hij nog door op eiken vaten voor een periode van ongeveer 18 maanden. Maar het is dus dezelfde techniek als bij port. Alleen bij port moet je eigenlijk minimaal 5 druivenrassen gebruiken. Dus port is altijd een blend van verschillende druivenrassen. En dit is dus maar 1 druivenras op diezelfde porttechniek gemaakt. En er komt het midden van Portugal, dus er mag sowieso geen port heten. Maar die techniek is hetzelfde. Als daar nog vragen over zijn, gooi ze in de chat. Of als je nog veel meer wilt weten, kom ik een keertje langs in de winkel. Stuur een app of een mail. Haalt mij niet uit. Ik vertel het je graag. Maar dat is de basis van deze wijn. En het verschil tussen dus de rode muskaat en de blanke muskaat is heel groot. De blanke muskaat, als je die vanaf de tros pakt en eet, dan proef je echt sterk ananas. De rode muskaat proef je sterk persik. Ze zien er anders uit en hebben een hele andere stijl. Dus dat is een beetje de basis van Cellium. Saul,
yeah.
I give a little bit of a small update about how they make.
Thank you so much for the help. Let me just say that the purple pink muscat brings a little more complexity, and something that I really enjoy on this wine. This is a winemaker challenging is how to make a sweet wine, the dessert wine, with a nice acidity to be fresh in the mouth. So this we achieve on this wine, and it's showing this freshness, but also this sweet profile where you will find dried fruits, of course, some honey notes, typical of the Muscat. A beautiful color, as you can see, gold color.
Yeah, the color is like it's one. The color is wonderful. It has this brownish hue, but also it has some red, some ruby. It has different notes.
In the mouth, it's so intense that just tasting, you will see. Yeah. It's fresh, but has this dried fruits notes. This how can I say, like fig, but also dried grape as well. Noticeable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some nuts as well. Some nuts I can find here. Some honey profile. This will be perfect for a dessert that I will not suggest sweet dessert, but for dark chocolate will go perfectly, for example, or some nuts, or as I was saying to you, to be the dessert itself. With this wine, really, Hammer, this is my opinion, you don't need the dessert.
You don't need a dessert.
But with this wine.
We are in the Netherlands and we like cheese. So this wine is a wonderful pairing with a lot of cheeses.
Yes, of course.
A lot of examples, way better than a lot of port wines. Port wines and cheese can be a wonderful marriage, but it also can be a horrible marriage. And this wine is more versatile and can be paired with a lot of more cheeses and different cheeses, and will not mismatch with a lot of cheeses as ports do. So it's a wonderful wine for cheeses. And I have a question of people asking about when you open this wine, how long can you have this wine open? In my opinion, it can, if you open this wine, it will stay fresh for around 4, 5, or 6 weeks. Uh, to give a, it's important or not, but keep it in the fridge when you open the bottle, because in the fridge it's dark, it's cool, it's an ideal place um, for this wine to stay. It's maybe a little bit too cold when you pour it, but it will warm up quite fast. So after opening, put it in the fridge, and you can enjoy it maybe longer than 6, 7, or 8 weeks. Again, you can enjoy it way longer, but the freshness, the fresh notes that you have right now will decline a bit over a period of time.
Like you said, Hammer, until 3, 4, 5 weeks, you'll see, you'll be delightful with this wine. You will see these dried fruit notes. You will see the acidity, the freshness of the wine, with almost no change. Of course, I will suggest as well as you to keep in the fridge and just take it out when you need to serve it, and leave it a little bit in the glass to warm a little bit, because if it's too cold, it's like any other drink. You will not feel the fruity aromas. Will hide everything that we like it in the nose, in the palate. So leave it in the glass a little bit. Will not lose anything. Will increase the aromatic complexity of the wine.
Yeah, and
3, 4, 5 weeks with no problem, not at all. But Reimer, if you want my opinion, this will not last 1 month. If you open, will not last 1 month.
No, definitely not. It's
so this 5 or 6 weeks that you said, in the real meaning, they will not last.
It's way too long. But if you want, or you go on holiday, put it in the fridge. You come back and you have something to come home to. It's. But if it's for people that are asking, bottled and closed, this wine will age for many, 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 many years. You can keep it in your cellar for 10, 20, 30 years. It has enough alcohol, enough freshness, enough sugar to be age worthy. So this is a wine that you can cellar up for many years.
And a nice acidity that will last for a long time, with this profile, live profile in the mouth. That it's what I like the most on this wine. It's not a boring dessert wine.
No,
it's a live dessert wine, and this makes all the difference during our tasting experience. So yes, because it's a fortified wine, you can save it for a long time.
Yeah.
I hope we finish the tasting in the very well way with this purple pink muscat. Let me just say that all our wines are somehow connected with our place and with our history. That it's everything about the Templars, or everything about our city Tomar. Also, this Celium, the name of Celium was the name of the Roman. When was the Roman Empire, the name of Tomar, before being Tomar, was the Roman city of Celium.
Yeah.
And because we don't know for sure, but we believe that Roman also promote these Muscat grapes here in our country, we put it this name Celium for this kind of different wine, and it's being very well accepted. So also this Celium wine, it's connected with the history of our city. Before being Tomar, was the Roman city of Celium.
Before the Templars, Tomar was called Celium.
Exactly.
I have somebody who asked about pairing with cheese. In my opinion, this is a wine that you can pair really good with, for example, Manchego, so the Spanish cheese, but also strong farmer cheeses from the Netherlands. Like not too old, but a bit old, creamy cheese. Maybe it can be with raclette, camembert. I would like this wine with camembert as well. Some strong camemberts. Livarot. It can be good cheese for Livarot as well. So the cheese from Normandy. So it's a different range, but you need it's a range of not the strongest cheeses and not the soft cheeses. So all the cheeses in between are good.
I think it's a nice way of finishing the tasting.
It definitely is a nice way of finishing the tasting.
I just cannot make a cheers with you, but I wish.
No, it's very difficult. So to do like this.
I wish to you and to all of the people that are watching us.
And again, for the people that are watching, people at home, we hope to give a physical WijnHALL during the autumn somewhere, but we don't know how the situation will be here in the Netherlands, there in Portugal, but we hope to show you our wines personal upfront with Saul, with the other people from different wineries, to really show you the story in personal and upfront.
This would be our fourth time in Woerden.
Yeah,
that we love a lot, and we make some really nice friends there, not only in Woerden but also all the producers, because we are all together. Yeah. So from here, also regards to Pedro from Boas Quintas, to Thibaut from the Rousseaus, and also to Danny that they're in Woerden. So regards to all of you, and hope to see you, if not this year, because we don't know, next year for sure we'll be there.
We hope next year. The last question, people that ask, will the wine improve with age? I think it will, but improve is always something. It's the same with red wine. What's improving? I think the taste will be maybe a little bit stronger. It will be thicker, but again, it's already very nice now, and it will be very good in a few years. But that's taste, and that taste is subjective. So that's the thing. Again, I hope everybody enjoyed. If you have any more questions about this wine, just keep us posted. You can order the wines online today and tomorrow through a discount code. The discount code is on the website of the WijnHALL, so you can use the discount code to order your wines. We have some extra on the Herdade dos Templários. If you buy a bottle or a box of Herdade dos Templários Branco, you get 2 bottles free from us, from the winery, and from me. So you get 2 free bottles, and we will get a new order of wines from Portugal soon. And if you order some wines, we will give you a corkscrew and some extra stuff from Herdade dos Templários. So make it personal, so you really know Saul was there and you have some personal attention with it.
Like this, we will remember Herdade dos Templários brand.
Yeah, with every bottle of wine you open.
Every bottle of wine, you will remember us.
So again, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much, Saul, for being with us. Maybe we do a digital cheers as well for the last bottle. Have a nice evening, everybody. And again, see you next time on the WijnHALL. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye. Cheers and health for everyone.